Author Dane Jensen has spoken with thousands of high performers, from Olympic gold medalists to everyday busy parents, to find out the best ways to deal with pressure.
That's right. And in his new self-help book, The Power of Pressure, he's teaching us all how to look beyond the pressure as a problem and channel it as a solution to our challenges. And Dane joins us now from Toronto. Hi, Dane.
Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. A little bit of pressure out there, a little bit of pressure. So as people head back to the office and back to school, we will be faced with our own unique sorts of pressure. But you say pressure usually presents itself based on three factors. Can you break those down for us?
Yeah, so, the way I kind of wrote the book is I asked as many interesting people as I could find one particular question, which is, what's the most pressure you've ever been under? And what I got back from that, probably unsurprisingly, is just a vast range of human experiences. But they all kind of had one of three things in common. And so I talk about these as sort of the three root causes of pressure. The first thing that has to be there for us to feel pressure as human beings is important. What we're doing has to matter to us. The outcome has to matter. If we don't care about the outcome, it's not really going to create pressure. But the second thing that has to be there is uncertainty, because if it matters to me, if it's important, but I know how it's going to turn out, it still doesn't really create that much pressure. It really is this intersection of, hey, there's a fair bit at stake for me here, and the outcome is uncertain. That's really where pressure lives. And then in the modern world, we have this third component, which is really volume. Just, what is the volume of tasks, of decisions, of distractions that are surrounding these important, uncertain situations? And so, it's my belief that we can kind of diagnose high-pressure situations as some combination of those three.
All right, I want to pull up that second point, uncertainty. Goodness, we've all dealt with that for quite some time now. So those are the pressure points. I've pinpointed that one specifically. Let's now talk about some successful ways we can cope with that kind of pressure of uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we go back over the past 18 months, the word unprecedented gets thrown around a lot, but I do think we are dealing with kind of unprecedented levels of uncertainty. And there's this weird sort of tension when it comes to uncertainty if we want to navigate it successfully, because it really comes down to our ability first to really take direct action to create pockets of certainty, while at the same time embracing the fact that, there is just uncertainty out there that cannot be tamed, and coming to peace with that. And I'll start with the first, which is, how do we actually create those pockets of certainty amidst a sea of uncertainty? I had a really interesting conversation with a guy named Martin Reeder, who's a Canadian beach volleyball player who went to the Rio Games in 2016. And he talked about how when you're playing beach volleyball, there is just a ton that is out of your control, right? The officiating is out of your control. The crowd is out of your control. Your opponents are out of your control. He said the only place that you have control is behind the service line. When you are holding the ball behind the service line, when it's your serve, you're in control. And so, his tip, which I love, is he said, when you are in a situation where you're faced with a ton of uncertainty, ask yourself, what's my serve here, right? What is the one thing that I have control over? And I think that ability for all of us to create little pockets of certainty, for ourselves, maybe it's 10 minutes at the end of the workday, to say, as crazy as the day is, every day at the end of the day, I'm going to take 10 minutes and I'm going to go through my inbox and I'm going to catalog what are the top 5 things I want to start with tomorrow morning. Or our kids going into a really uncertain school year, right? Saying, okay, yeah, there's a lot that's out of our control here, but every morning what I want you to do is I want you to fill your water bottle, put it in your backpack, right? Find your lunch on the counter, put that in your backpack. Get a fresh mask, attach it to the lanyard, put that around your neck. And then every morning we're going to start with 5 to 7 minutes of certainty. And I think creating those little islands amidst a lot that's out of our control can be quite helpful.
Oh, I love that. Okay, our daily routines usually come with, a bunch of checklists of things that we need to get done. And you say a common trap is that people fall into using time management as a way to solve the whole volume of pressure that we face. How does time management really work against it in this case?
Yeah, this is one of the counterintuitive things that I think I found as I was writing, the book, which is, volume is a huge source of pressure for most of us. We are living in the age of volume with, an infinite amount of information and distractions. And I think when we feel pressure from volume, it kind of makes sense to turn to time management, right? It's like, okay, I got to get better at handling all of this. The challenge is that time management is a trap. It's a trap. I mean, what happens to people who get really good at time management? Do they get more volume or less volume? They get more volume.
More.
Right? The more efficient that we get, the more stuff that gets loaded into our plate. You know, in the modern working world, if you are efficient enough to free up an hour on your calendar, it's like putting up a signal flare that's like, hey, I have some time for another project, right? Immediately, you're going to get a calendar invite for that hour. And so, you know, it's kind of like digging a hole at the beach, right? It doesn't matter how big the hole is, more water is going to kind of rush in and fill it. And so, you know, what I really learned is that time management is a great productivity strategy. It's good to get more done, but it doesn't really help with pressure. If we want to attack the pressure from volume, we got to attack the root causes, which is, you know, how many tasks are we taking on? How many decisions do we have to make every day? And how many distractions are we permitting that kind of drag us away from those tasks and decisions? That's really where the solution is to volume.
I need to read this book over and over again. Dane, thank you so much. The Power of Pressure, Why Pressure Isn't the Problem, It's the Solution, is available now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll be right back here on The Morning Show.